Hey, what is going on, everybody? Invisible Boilon here for a video here on Saturday. I'm recording this at like 1 in the morning, so I probably that's why you're not on screen, or why I'm not on screen. But I do want to talk about a few things that happened over the last little while, and I want to share with you guys this morning when you're probably going to be watching the video. Also, want to talk about a tower. S.W.O.R.D satellite is coming back. Not next week, because obviously we had the blog post yesterday, but it is going to be coming the week after. We're going to be talking about the details on that showed up in the data mines. So I want to talk about a few other things as well, including some issues with the chaotic storm raid that was partially fixed, but not entirely. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Okay, actually, that's not the right starting spot. I wanted to talk about this. So at around 6 p.m. Pacific time, they did end up sending, I think it's in here, is it? The MSF 7th anniversary. Now, some people are probably going to get mad at me because I jumped the gun, perhaps, on my video. But what's funny, I guess, was that my video was then shared to the community managers in the MSF official Discord, it seems, and then they jumped on it afterwards. Than that, I think my main issue is why I made the video that I did yesterday was because every other year it was mentioned in the blog post at some point in March that there was going to be a gift coming, and normally that gift is on the 28th of March. So the fact that there was a lack of communication on this, that there was anything at all, made me skeptical about whether or not that there was going to be anything coming. But it turns out that they did send this later. I mean, it was better late than never, I guess. And in terms of what was in there, we kind of went over what was in the anniversary last year. It's okay. I mean, honestly, I think the power cores at this point, it's the 7th theme, but still 700 power cores now is like a day and a half worth of power cores. It's not that much considering this is like the anniversary and it's a pretty big deal. Like, yeah, it's helpful, but I mean, they were giving away like 500 or more power. I don't remember how many, like on the Twitch drops, right? So, 700 for their main inbox gift doesn't seem that much, and 70 T4s is frankly is insulting a little bit. They honestly 777 wouldn't even be that bad. That would be good, but like it wouldn't have made a huge dent because you get this in like what, like 2 days of spotlight raids or something like that, or however many you get, like 30 or I forget how many T4s you get every single day. But anyways, 7,000 Mcron crystals. That's going to help you get towards a 7 yellow Lalandra, and actually the 700 L4 training modules. I'm sure people will appreciate. 7 anniversary orbs. Now, these orbs can be hit or miss. So for me, I think I walked away with like 800 dark promotion credits and like a couple million gold. And that was about it. Like I didn't get any major drops. And so while it's appreciative, like I guess I would have liked some more solid drops that like was not RNG based. I don't really like that with the orbs. Also with the Path of the Howard and Havoc orbs, it's kind of low. 7 orbs. I mean, you get 5 per week from Crucible. Honestly, we should be getting more of those per week in Crucible because we were getting like what, 5 Falcon and Patriot orbs every single war, and that was 3 times a week. So I feel like they're not really giving out enough of these Starjammer path orbs because it's only related to Crucible where you get it, and the rewards are only once a week. There's also 100 shards for Hercules and Jean Grey if you don't have them maxed out, and then some other characters that are farmable, but I guess this will be better for new players here. So it is what it is there. I've now got my Jean Grey to 7 yellow, 7 red, who I am looking for diamonds, and my Hercules is at 3 diamonds because I finished buying the accolades. Make sure that you spend those accolades to get your diamonds or dupes or whatever you want to do with it, right? So when you go into the Elite store, you can find it at the bottom. I actually just got 40 accolades, and so I did buy the 3 diamond there, and so that's helpful for Hercules, who just got to 7 yellow because of the 100 shards. The other thing that I want to talk, I think that was it. I want to talk about the. Let me know what you think about the rewards, the inbox. It's free stuff, I guess, but like I do feel that some of this stuff could have been a little bit more. They could have been a little bit more generous. Based on where I think the state of the game is, the fact that we've been putting up with a lot of their crap. When it comes to buggy nonsense that we're going to be talking about, and I feel like they could have done a little bit more. That's just me. As far as the chaotic storm raids go, there was a statement that came out. So this is my raid just now. Now it's at 35%, but it still has the glitchy nonsense that's related to the percentage, and it's kind of annoying. So if I go back, right, this 45, you see it's jumping from 35 to 40, whatever, the 45, and that's because of the boss nodes, right? And so the thing that they changed is that no longer is it that it's going to auto complete if you hit 70%, because around 70% or so with the optional bosses, it was triggering a full completion. It's not going to do that anymore, but they haven't fixed the percentage meter, like bugging out every time you move screens, which is kind of annoying because I don't know. I mean, this is probably where I'm at, but still, it's kind of annoying that it shows both. I do want to kind of present you with this. There's two things actually here, and I just want to kind of share the first part because I don't know if I brought it up in a previous video. So some people might have found out that they didn't get their last 20 null shards from a calendar. This was a day ago, but I want to bring it up anyways. They're going to be sending those shards next week. So what's unfortunate, I suppose, is if you were for whatever reason 20 shards from a null unlock, now you're waiting until this actually comes in the mail by the community manager or whoever sends it out next week. Then there was this post that happened last night. So commanders, the optional chaotic storm raid boss nodes were incorrectly applying to the raid's completion percentage, causing raids to finish prematurely. Our team has implemented a fix. So it no longer does that. But they didn't actually fix the other glitchiness. So and actually one thing that they didn't actually address either. So I was messing around on my chaotic storm raids today, and I decided I got pretty far this time around. Not as far as when I cored the first day, right, when I did the video. But I managed to go up this way, and we got to skill on the left here side, and I did a sack on the first node here, and then I did a sim with Spider Society, and I won, and that was fine. I did another sack here on the second node, and then and then I simmed my Spider Society, and then what ended up happening was that the Jean Grey survived the battle, and so what I think that happened, and I don't remember if I brought this up in another video or if I brought it up yesterday, but if Jean Grey gets back around, or if any of the other characters, the boss characters, right? If any of them get back around to their first skill that they used, in this case, it's the Jean Grey special. If she gets back around to that, she's going to apply that debuff again because the debuff itself is actually tied to the original skill that they start with. So in this case, it is Jean Grey's special. In the case of Shadow King, for the bio section, it is Shadow King's alt. So if they get around back to those initial skills, then they're going to apply that debuff again. And I think that's why I lost the sim because Jean Grey didn't die for whatever reason. I guess with the auto, it didn't target them, whereas it was fine on the first skill node. So I'm assuming that's what happened. They've not actually said anything about this, and frankly, I think it's kind of bullshit because the way that they described it suggests that it was only going to apply for the first attack, and that's not entirely accurate. It actually doesn't even say that here. It just says Jean Grey in this mission will act first and apply this to all player characters. It doesn't specify though it's tied to the skill, right? But it is. That's how it's coded. And they haven't actually said anything about this because, if you're not able to kill Jean Grey in time, by the time she gets back, or even after a sack, if by the time she gets back around, then you're fucked, right? So that's a bit of an issue. I hope that maybe they'll consider addressing this or at least making a statement about it. I would appreciate that from them. But, that's just how things go. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the upcoming data mines related to S.W.O.R.D Tower, or what they're calling S.W.O.R.D Battle Lab. So this one's a little bit interesting, and they're talking about how there's going to be 50 floors and 2 new ones. It's weird how they describe this in the text. The event has 50 total floors, including 10 new floors, which which would sound like the new floors are like 41 through 50, but it's actually 50 and then 2 new ones after 10 new ones after that. So 60 floors total. Train your toughest team on the S.W.O.R.D Battle Lab. So they're not calling it S.W.O.R.D Satellite anymore. It seems they're calling it S.W.O.R.D Battle Lab, which is why I got confused about the kiln tower that is right now, because what is it called? It's called it's definitely not called kiln tower or even kiln prison, or I don't even know what they're naming, but it was kind of weird anyways. So this one is going to be a leaderboard because we're currently in a leaderboard event right now. Next week is not a leaderboard, which means that this is going to be the week of not March the 28th. It's going to be the week of April the 7th. So that's going to be that week that I end up going away to Germany by the Friday. So this is when we're going to be expecting S.W.O.R.D Battle Lab to come. And this is going to be for some G20 minis. Now, which ones I don't know because we're not there yet with the data mines, but it's going to be really important that you clear this nonetheless. So completing floor 10 will allow players to compete for the leaderboard rewards, and then completing floor 50 will earn all the milestones. So I'm actually confused here because down below, what's 51 through 60 then? Is that just going to be for milestone or like for leaderboard points? Like I'm really I'm lost because it says earn all the milestones, and then down here you can see there's checkpoints on floor 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and 60. And if you fail on a floor above any checkpoint, you will fall down. That's funny that there's a checkpoint at 60 because normally how this works for Sword Tower is that you get as high as you can, but typically if you can get to the very top floor, you just repeat that over and over again, usually every day for points. Now, Sword Satellite is different from Kiln. This is something that you're doing every single day. So I'm probably screwed because when I'm flying out on Friday, I'm probably gonna miss out on this because maybe I could do it in the airport, right? Like before I get on my flight. But when I get to the higher floors, I'll have to make sure that I'm doing this every single day because they reset like that. And it says that here. Each character can be used once per day and will go into cooldown until midnight. Now, what they don't say, because normally Sword has a 5 yellow restriction. And it doesn't specifically say that in the text here. Now, we might not have all the tag. Maybe it's just not mentioned right for some reason, but normally Sword is associated with a 5 yellow lockout. And that's kind of what I want to talk about here in the second half here of the last bit of the video. There's also going to be a Howard the Duck RTA battle pass that's going to be coming after this existing one, I think. So should be like in a week and a half, I guess, because usually data mines are about, oh my god, sorry guys. Let's zoom back out. Normally data mines are about a week and a half out. So when this ends, we're going to be jumping into a Howard battle pass, it looks like. Now, what I want to talk about is if the sword does have a 5 yellow lockout, what kind of characters are we going to be looking at using? So we're probably not going to be using Starjammers, right? Not that they're very good outside of Crucible anyways. I heard they're pretty garbage. So they're probably not going to have a significant amount of value in Sword, even if we're able to use them. You'd be able to use Lalandra standalone, and I guess Groot and Rocket. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of value in there though, because I heard they suck anyways. As far as Liberty goes, I'm not super familiar with how well they actually do outside of war. And this is actually interesting because they're recommending Liberty for Xavier Saga. And so I'm kind of skeptical. So, for those of you who do have experience with using Liberty, I would be very curious to know how they perform without their war buffs. And the reason why I'm asking is because, Sword Satellite and, it's a full 5-man battle, right? You're using this to go up against other teams. Is there going to be value in using Liberty, without their war buffs? I don't even have them at 5 if that's a restriction. Falcon's close, Patriots not. So I might not even get the full team to be able to use that. And so that's something that you need to think about when you're using characters in Sword. And so realistically, the characters that we will be using probably is going to be like something like this, right? Like everything back behind this that are farmable. And Absolute A-Force is going to be farmable next week. So that's ahead of the Sword Tower as well. So that should be fine. Absolute A-Force is actually a pretty good team. Like they're definitely usable for sure. Outside of their game mode, I'm pretty sure they hit hard enough. Kahori carries most of it, anyways. And then once you get to the point where especially those top 5 floors where it's hard enough that you kind of have to start hybriding. I mean, Kahori's going to be really useful, anyways. So I think that shouldn't be a problem there. And of course, you have teams like Astral, you have Night Stalkers, you have Orcus that are probably still going to have value as you climb up through Sword Satellite or Sword Lab, Sword Battle Lab, or whatever you want to call it. So just something to keep in mind that if they do instigate that 5 yellow restriction, I kind of skipped over Phoenix Force because free to play, Omega Red is only about 4 yellow anyways, right? So you're not going to be able to use them if they have that restriction. So there's a lot of characters that you won't actually be able to use in this, which I don't know is either a good thing or a bad thing because I don't know how good some of these characters will be without their game mode buffs. Anyways, we have had a lot of like PvP based teams and particularly ones that don't function super well without their buffs. So that's another thing to consider as well. So that's just going to be it for now on Saturday. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the weekend. And tomorrow we're going to be having our Sunday event videos, of course, ahead of Monday. So that's it for now. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.